I see finger guns. My favorite thing to see on a stream. Hello, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. Let me know once you confirm audio, and we will get this party started. This is my favorite part of the stream. Waiting for everyone to say they can hear me and that we are actually live. All cool. Hello. Sounds good. Awesome. Everyone, welcome to Jagged Alliance 3 dev stream number 2. We are super excited to be interacting and hanging out with you today. My name is Brad Loxon. I have my lovely, beautiful pal Pavel over here. Pavel, how are you doing today?
Very good. Very good.
How you having a good afternoon over there in Bulgaria?
Oh yeah. Spring is just hopefully come. I don't want to jinx it, but let's hope it's here to stay.
Yeah, someone let's see who said that. Yeah, coordinator. I got the same comment a minute ago that my upload quality is going a little wacky. I don't know. Sometimes the internet is unpredictable. Usually my internet is top notch. So it'll probably clean up as we go. Hopefully everything sounds good, and it'll clean up as we go. I can't help the internet gods. They don't always bless me with good connection, which is weird because I usually have it. So yeah, it's good to see you again. You were a guest on our first dev stream, and so we're back here, and we're gonna have Pavel. See, everyone already thinks you look beautiful.
Yeah, of course. Hopefully I don't overstay my welcome. Then it's not gonna be those comments, right?
Well, what I love about this is later on we're gonna have a few images of Pavel the model. So for those of you who were here last stream, we are going to be doing some giveaways during the stream. We're going to be giving away some of these awesome Jagged Alliance 3 t-shirts. And I don't know if right off the bat, if my lovely producer in the background, Alex, has the picture, but Pavel this morning sent us some wonderful modeling shots. You had some... We'll see if we can pull those up, and you can see just how great... Maybe Pavel's in the wrong career. I'm not sure. There you go. Look at
that's always a fallback career, Brad. Like I always have it just in the back pocket, you know.
Wow, much wow. Just yeah, I'm sold. I call dibs. Oh my goodness.
I know, right? The comedic value is off the chain.
That face is just you look like a guy who's very happy with his shirt. So
wow.
Well, yes, we're gonna do a couple t-shirt giveaways here throughout the stream. We have some questions. We're gonna do kind of a first come. Yeah, why is my stream quality so bad? Maybe producer Alex, is it actually bad on your side too? You can figure out because that's really weird. Let me try. We're gonna do one quick thing. I'm gonna see if I can change and fix this really quick without mucking with anything. There is one small thing I may be able to do. I've never had problems with
Yeah, it's just you.
That's what he said.
Yeah, Pavel, cover for me for a second while I take 2 seconds to look through the plethora of Discord settings that may be causing this thing
I can pull up a couple more modeling pictures in the meantime.
Oh yeah. Discord has been funky at some points in the recent past, let's say last month or something. But I think that on our side things are okay, so should be good. You should be seeing the background as well, and probably my little bit more shiny face right now. But yeah,
that is super yeah. And there's the other.
But this time we have the AC on, so you won't see us, overexerting ourselves here. So,
where did you do your beautiful photo shoot?
Right next to my workplace. So there's just a wall.
So weird. Well, everybody, I will try to figure out. I've never seen the quality. Actually, it just cleaned up a little bit, so maybe it's getting better. I guess we'll see. Well, anyways, let's go ahead and get into the show. So we have quite a bit of things to talk about today. We're going to be going through our dev diary on world building. So if you haven't checked it out, we do have a dev diary posted recently. It's on our community site, community.jaggedalliance.com. Really encourage you guys to get plugged in, and you can read all of our cool content. We have our developers engaging with people over there, so I think you'll have a lot of fun there. And yeah, we're going to go through a number of topics here and just kind of roll through. And you know what? We're also going to have a new guest today, so look forward to seeing one of our narrative designers come on a little bit later and talk about his perspective on world building. Pavel, let's get right into it. So the last time we talked about things, we were kind of hinting about the important aspects. We're talking about the important aspects of the game, what we care about, and one of them was the open world nature of Jagged Alliance 3. And this is something that's really important to us when it comes to how we're structuring all of the features and content for the game.
Oh yeah, like the game itself is focused on several key things, which is like the characters themselves who are first of all a lot, and they're very different. They're not just generic military guys running around. Each of them has their backstories and whatever. And the second one is that because it has a strategic layer, the world is huge, and it didn't work just to have an empty world where only the strategic layer is happening. No, you can go into all of the different places, and that's where exactly the world building fits in. It just, we needed to breathe life into all of those different sectors, the country of Grand Chien and its inhabitants, how you fit into everything that's happening there, the main narrative, the side narratives that you can explore, or even ignore. Like that's totally up to you. And Radu will get a little bit deeper into that later on in the stream. But
So,
yeah, it's very fun.
So when we say world building, what do we mean? I know a lot of people probably know what that means, but what do we mean by world building? What is that? What is world building?
Well, the most simple way is to just not have the open, empty map of everywhere in Grand Chien. Is what actually is in this country, who are the people that are living there, how do they interact with everything that's going on, like the legion that is actively in the region, and what do all of the different factions do there, like how do the locals interact with that. So all of those things are actually what makes the backdrop of your experience a little bit more alive, and yeah, it's a core part of the gameplay, I would say.
Yeah, Philly Perp. Is it Philly Perp? I'm trying to make sure I get all of the.
Philly
I
Perp.
don't think world building has anything to do with Minecraft, but good comment. Yeah, it really is all the different elements that bring the game to life when it comes to character and environment and whatnot. And it's super.
Yeah.
It's something we think about very intentionally, and
Yep.
it for us it's because it's a role playing game, that's also a really big aspect. But there's different challenges for us because we want to maintain that open world feel, and that's not necessarily something that's always easy. The challenges are different if you have a little more of a linear or guided progress, so you can have more control over how those things go. But when it's open world, it takes a different approach.
Yeah, well, Radu put it best into the dev diary, which is like fool around and find out. There's a more explicit version of that thing. We wanted to give that to the player, like that he or she can just go out and approach situations in a different way, or again, totally ignore them, and then either suffer the consequences, or just allow the player to go on his own way, and at the same time not forget about the main narrative, which is something that happens in other games, and it's happened to me at least in other games. So we wanted you to have that experience with the main narrative, but also explore and go wherever you like. I have a couple of stories I can even share there, but that's probably for later on.
And some of chat is talking about, Jagged Alliance. I actually think I'm going to say I do think that Jagged Alliance has always had a RPG element to it. I mean, that's part of the game. If anyone has seen the Legacy trailer, and Ian Curry, who was the original creator of the game and the franchise, he talked about the three important elements of what makes a Jagged Alliance game Jagged Alliance, and one of those three elements was the characters and the story and the world. So I think from the get-go, it was always really an integral part of what brought the Jagged Alliance formula together and what was kind of unique about it. So that's I think is something we were very conscious of. Now, one of the things that we talk about in the dev diary, as and you kind of hinted at it already, was that freedom of exploration. That allows you to be an open world, and that's the ability to go where you want and explore the things that you want. That's something we iterated on quite a bit and talked about a lot through all of development.
Well, actually, in the beginning, like in the start of development, we had a more generic way, I would say, for quests. Like you always had the quest tracker, which was go there and do that, which was boring a little bit, and we didn't like it. So we experimented a bit, and we came to another approach, which was basically you're this commander of mercs, and the mercs are running around the country, and you slowly figure out what's going on in different places. So it's more of a journal approach to it. You find out different things, like, hey, this person said this, and you found out a document or intel about this sector, about the people that are living there and what's actually going on there. So it's another way that you can approach quest design and quest tracking, because it's not holding your hand. It's more focused on the exploration and you finding out.
Yeah, it's I remember early on in development when we first got started in our very first vertical slice test. This is, a number of years ago, and you're 100% right. We started with a baseline that was, I think, what a lot of other games do, which is that kind of evolved version of a quest tracker. And it does, no matter how creative you get with your quest design, it does get that sense of go here, do this, do that, like the checklist of things you're supposed to accomplish. And it just didn't feel right. Like it was something that, when we were both our own experience with the Jagged Alliance as a game, as well as just what people seem to talk about, that ability to do and set your own goals, even though there was a world around that you were exploring, is in my opinion, something a little lost in a lot of games today. I think it's part of that. You always hear that comment about things being on rails. And as part of on rails, even if it's an open world design, it's because you're being told what you're supposed to do. So we, this kind of notes approach. I'll be curious. I know I saw like some of the previews came out recently, and there were different debates going on about, I want my handheld. I don't want my handheld. I want the world to feel immersive. I don't want to get lost. We did take a risk. Hopefully y'all like it. We did take a risk in a sense that we don't want to hold your hand. We do make sure that you don't get lost with the big quests, but you're going to meet people, you're going to do actions, there's going to be things that happen that tell you what's going on in the world, and then you explore that as you go. And there's a lot of stories, a lot of quests, a lot of content, but we want you to discover those things at your own pace and based on what you decide, what fantasy and Grand Chien you decide to play out.
Yeah, it's actually, this is something that I wanted to plug in here. It's not something that's in the dev diary, but in the beginning, when we started out creating the first maps, we were really layering on top of the grid, like the combat grid, and things were really stiff and two-dimensional maybe. So at some point we just said, hey, this isn't working. Let's break it up and make actual maps. And in a way, we actually untied the hands of our level designers, and all of these maps that you see are all handcrafted and very specific with all the fine details and all of the environment set the way it is. It's focused more on the environment and on the actual world than it is on, hey, this is gonna have exactly this voxel size or voxel size for this encounter. Like it's a different way of approaching level design that also is focused more on the world than it is just the making it optimal only for combat, let's say.
Yeah. And people in chat were talking about the way the levels were built and asking some questions about that, how that connects with combat experiences. I mean, obviously you're going to make your own decisions when you play the game, so I'm not going to project on you what I think you're going to how you're going to feel about it. But I think for me as a player, I feel like we constantly challenged ourselves to create and allow the shape and the layout of the world both drive the role playing, the discovery, and the combat in a lot of different ways to add uniqueness and flavor. And there's a lot of sectors that are all handcrafted, so we're not doing procedurally generated. That part of that decision was to give that richness and have a little more control of how we add spaces that have different feelings in different areas. And I do feel that comes across. I'll be really curious how everyone feels when they play it, but I think that's something that I'm really happy with where we got to with that. So should be super cool. I see we're gonna have a whole dev stream at one day on the whole chance to hit conversation. Everyone's talking about it. It's a good thing to talk about, honestly, because we're trying to
we're gonna have a whole combat dev stream.
Yeah,
So
we have a whole combat thing, which probably is going to be like 30 minutes of chance to hit conversation. So don't worry if you're interested in talking about it and having that, we're gonna dive into it. I also saw, and I think it was let me move my mouse over to chat. There was a couple people commenting about the awesome animations. So that's great. I really appreciate those compliments. We're gonna have Nelson, who's the art director, on one of these streams, and we'll make sure to do a whole bunch of cool stuff on the animation piece. Let's I mean I think maybe we should do a t-shirt. Do people want t-shirts? Maybe want to give a t-shirt away? Do you want to start with the super hard question that no one's gonna probably get?
sure.
Yeah, I'm watching chat. I'm
Let's
guessing
do it.
everybody in chat's gonna think that they're gonna get this.
Again,
I
I have it here
no,
for teasers, not for teasers, for helpers.
we're not gonna give the cheat first. We're gonna start with the hardest question we got, and we'll go easy from there. There is a gentleman in chat named Home. He is the our community manager on Jagged Alliance 3. So he's gonna post our terms of service and privacy policy for the contest. If you are selected to win, you're gonna reach out to Home directly. He's a moderator in chat and get your information, and then we'll do all the prize redemption offline. As a small note for US and EU, we are covering the shipping costs. If you're outside of those two regions, there may be a small shipping fee associated with it, but should be fine. So here's the way we're gonna do this. I'm gonna ask a question. I'll watch chat. Whoever gets the answer right first is gonna be selected by me, I guess. And I do have some prerogative on if the answer is formed right or makes sense. So I am judge, jury, and executioner when it comes to the answers.
I don't see chat anyway, so I'm just gonna act like I see everything. So.
Yeah, really prepped right. The answer is always 42 to everything. I agree. All right, so everyone get your keyboards ready, and we're gonna go at the first question, which is super hard and probably no one's gonna get. All right, question number 1. All right, what's the model of the gun replica used in the Jagged Alliance 3 Legacy trailer? We had a gun used in the Legacy trailer, a physical model that we showed. And if you can name the gun model, it is not the MP40, then you are our first winner. It's a hard one. I told Pavel no one was going to get this. Everyone's going to be frantically trying to pull the Legacy trailer up. And there was a trailer, it's called the Jagged Alliance 3 Legacy trailer that Ian Curry was in. I don't see it yet. So do you want to pull up the actual model and show it to him?
Yeah. So during the Legacy trailer, we actually had one shot where our chief level designer she's actually one of the motion capture artists as well. And we had an airsoft replica for the filming purposes. So this should be easy for some of the people in the stream.
Everyone's saying MP4, but that's not what you have listed as the answer. That's not correct.
That's not an MP4.
It's not MP4. Oh, someone got it. 416. That's right. There you go. It's an HK 416. So it's Chicky and Besky is the one who got that right.
Epic names. I love the Twitter, not the Twitter, but the Twitch names.
Yeah, Chicky and the Becky, you are the winner of our first teacher. We have 4 more to go. It's not the only one, and they get easier. That's the hardest of the questions, I think. Because holy goodness, how are you going to know that one scene from whatever? But congratulations. Please
Brad
reach out.
is very skeptical.
Yeah, well, I was right. No one was like, the Legacy trailer? What? And by the way, it was at 2:34 in the trailer. If anyone wants to look it up, we have one of our motion capture artists and animators. So, Chicky, please reach out to Home in chat. And we will get you your information and get you a fancy dancy t-shirt. All right, so getting back, and we'll have a couple more giveaways here in a little bit. We're gonna start with just the first one. So we were talking about how we use this open world and exploration to kind of make things at your own pace. And this is part of we have our main quest line, and we don't get you lost in that. But there is a lot of stuff that just kind of happens as you're navigating. What are some of the things that, like, some of the ways that you can discover information about quests in the world? Like, how does it work?
There are a lot of ways you can find hints and clues around, whether it's some objects, interactables that are in specific maps that you explore, because you can walk around all the sectors without actually entering them, like most of them, without entering them, but you can actually explore all of them, and there are objects there that can help you. There are also locals there that you can talk to, but you can also overhear conversation and banters between different NPCs, and that can actually trigger notes in your quest log, quest notes that we have. So there are a lot of different ways you can approach this. Some quests require a lot of digging. You can go into operations and do scout for intel, which will also give you specific hints for the different sectors. And I'd like to say there's a fair bit of diversity and variety out there that's hopefully a lot of people will like.
Yeah, I think like one of my favorite things is you actually can, while you're stealthing around or paying attention, sometimes enemies will actually have conversations. And those enemy conversations that you overhear can also add notes and give you indications of what's going on. If you haven't read the dev diary, there's one kind of quest example of this in the dev diary. I'm just going to read some of it. I'm going to read it directly from the diary, 'cause I think for those of you who haven't had the diary, it really kind of captures this whole thing. So, for example, a civilian may tell you about a demon from hell that is murdering poachers in the savannah and nailing horns on their heads in evil mockery. Or you may just stumble upon the bodies. Both of those things can give you some information. And in both cases, you will gently be encouraged to visit the poacher camp, where you will learn that indeed there is some psycho who enjoys hunting hunters, and you'll be promised payment if you find this person and do something about it. So you're just kind of discovering that what the effects of what's going on, and told, hey, if you go here, maybe you can get some benefit from it. So it's something that kind of pops up. The cool thing is that the game tracks the development of these things as you go. So there may be, you may see the poacher moving around because you now know it's there, and you get information about where he is, and so he's changing from area to area, and you don't actually know, and you have to kind of discover. And you may run into someone that says, oh, it's over here. So the exploration and the tracking of him, or tracking of his poacher for this particular side quest, is very organic, and it's dynamic. It's not like it's a static go here and do this thing. He's doing his own things and moving about the world and having his actions, and you're kind of talking to people and noticing those things and trying to track it down. So it's not just even that you get the notes and get information. That stuff is also adjusting in real time as the world is moving and evolving and alive. People are interacting and stuff. And obviously, it's not all quests have that level of dynamicism, but we have enough of it in there that you get this feeling that there's not just someone sitting there waiting for you, right? Like, you have to, kind of learn and react and deal with it. And I think it comes together quite well. I think it's really exciting. Well, Pavel, we do need to get to our second guest now. So I think we are going to say adieu to Model Pavel for a second. But we're going to have you come back in a little bit. While Pavel's changing out, we're going to go ahead and he'll come back, by the way. He's going to come back for the question and answer section at the end. I'm going to go ahead and during the transition, do another t-shirt giveaway, because we can get all 5 of these in. So if y'all want to get ready, and we will have our second guest join us with the t-shirt giveaway. So yeah, there's the Pavel t-shirt. It's beautiful. So get ready for your question. T-shirt giveaway number 2. Everyone ready? Hopefully everyone's ready. And we will go with a... Let's go with the Jagged Alliance 2 question for all the Jagged Alliance 2 fans out there. Oh, by the way, Radomir, how you doing?
Hey, y'all. Wonderful.
You ready to see? We'll be curious if people can get this Jagged Alliance 2 question quick. So for T-shirt number 2, the question is: in Jagged Alliance 2, you can get a robot companion. What are the parts you need to give him, or to get him? We need 2 parts. A little cheat. There's 2 parts you need to get your little robot companion in Jagged Alliance 2. Let's see. Oh, that's it. Caught VRTT. Wow, a lot of people actually knew this one. Caught VRTT was correct. It is a video camera and a rifle. So that is the correct answer for Jagged. See, we have a lot of Jagged Alliance 2 fans. That's a pretty good memory, actually. How many people knew that quest? That's super exciting. So, Caught VRTT, if you can reach out to home, congratulations, and we will get your information, and we'll get you one of those fancy dancy Jagged Alliance 3 t-shirts. Okay, so how you doing, Radomir? How are you today?
Oh, very well. I've been reading reviews and enjoying the confusion of players at times.
By the way, I'm going to warn chat right now. I've interacted with Radomir a number of times over the years. He has a very unique sense of humor and a very clever wit. So you're gonna have fun. He's great. I've actually been really looking forward to this interview and this conversation, because you are absolutely hilarious. It's gonna be a fun time. So
Thank you. I'm blushing.
What is your role in the project? I know it says senior narrative designer, but maybe give everyone an intro about yourself real quick and what you're doing.
Well, if I say I've been writing, it wouldn't be enough, because you don't make the story of a game by writing it. You just implement it by multiple elements. So you have those maps. They should deliver the story, the maps in the game. You should have the NPCs, and the optional part of the dialogues just fits in to improve the experience of the player. So there's a lot.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's something that's, I think, really compelling about game development as a craft. If you're a narrative designer, it's not just a story, because the story is immersed and baked into the world. The visuals of the world, the and even their location on the map. It's a multi factorial discipline. So
you have a bunch of tools and you want to use them in order to deliver the better experience.
So we left Pavel kind of, and this is a good segue into the talking about the world, talking about kind of the open world nature of Jagged Alliance and how you discover things and everything, drive that discovery. But something we haven't talked about yet was another element of the world building is how you interact and what your interactions produce. And the way we term it in the dev diary, it's freedom of choice. And freedom of choice is also a big part of the world building and how it evolves and getting that sense of open world nature.
Yes, it is. And it's a trap, because the more freedom you want to provide to the player, the more content you have to create then. So with branches, there are problems. There are multiple NPCs that might know each other and react on, say, you kill someone. In this game, you could kill pretty much everyone, and that's such a pain in the, imagine there's a couple, and they are separated, and you kill one of them, and then they come together. And of course, the game has to handle this in some way. That leads to weird situations, but we've tried to track them down and script them into the game. But of course, we had to find a balance. Where do we stop when we have a story?
We just got a raid. That's really kind for the raid. Appreciate that. Welcome over to the stream. Yeah, and Spine Duke, I think that's kind of what Rada was just talking about, which is that when you're the world is not just what we've built, it also kind of reflects what choices the player makes, because the world evolves and changes. So I mean, if you want to I wouldn't recommend it, by the way. It's not the way that I would play, but if you want to go around and just start blowing away NPCs, I mean, you can do that, and the world will be all right. I mean, there's not much to do now. Like, no one's around to tell you anything, and the stuff that you're going to do is going to be very different, because you basically are murdering all the people that give you the quest lines, and obviously the locals aren't very happy about that, and so that. But you can certainly do it if you want, and then the world that you've built around you and the way that it reacts to you is going to be completely different. And man, that sounds like it's a whole different challenge, right? I mean, when it comes to how you build a game like this, I mean, how do you approach those challenges? I have to imagine it's really complicated.
Yes, it is, but we're keeping long documents with designs, then explain them very carefully to the level designers. Then we have them scripted, and then we play them, and we say, it didn't turn out very well. Okay, let's change this and that and that and that and that. And then we forgot this situation. Okay, let's give you an example. There's something hilarious I remember. Okay, there is this guy who has a girlfriend, and this guy is a mercenary. I'm not. I don't want to spoil right now, but there is a mercenary. You may have them, that guy in the team, and encounter his girlfriend and her new boyfriend somewhere in the world. And then the game is scripted in a way that if you kill that girl, or if that girl is dead in some way, that guy, the lover boy, will not be happy about it. He will leave you. He'll say, "No, she's dead. How could you do that?" or something. And the hilarious,
Eagle of Freedom definitely liked your "dead in some way" comment. Yeah, Rado is an iceberg person, right? There's a lot going underneath what he says. Please go on. Sorry, that's. I'm glad you caught that.
So, at some point, I got the most ridiculous bug ever from the testers. Apparently, you're able to go with that guy with your merc and kill the girl. You can actually give him an order to shoot her. He shoots her. She dies, and he's like, "Oh no! Why would you die? How could you do that? No, I can't live with these people anymore." And he leaves. I'm not quite sure I fixed that bug. it was actually so good. I think I left it stay in the game. Of course, the writing was set up right, but it's a valid situation because bullets fly in the game, and everything happens, and sometimes the civilians die.
Oh man, that's it's like it's almost like the ultimate like weird irony. We're like, oh, you killed her. You not you did it. But bye. You know, it's you can interpret that however you want. You know, he's pretty upset, but I mean, yeah, it's funny. I think, and someone made the comment, Eagles Freedom. You know, there's definitely some elements of games back in that era, you know, the Jagged Alliance era, the Fallout era that had that kind of structure and system to it. And you know, whether we're gonna hit the mark, you know, we're doing all we can to do it, but it's something we're aiming for. That's exactly what we're trying to accomplish with the structure of the game, with the writing, with the way the world is built and structured. Like that is our goal. We want the world to respond to your choice. We don't want it to be a sense of just like, oh, there's 3 paths and which path you go is where it goes. You know, we actually, and I know we talked about this, I think in the first stream, there was a big debate back a number of years ago about whether we wanted to allow people to pull out a gun and shoot an NPC. And there was a, I'm not going to name names on who fell on which side of that debate, but there were definitely some people strongly felt we shouldn't do it. Because it's like, man, it causes a lot of problems in quest design. It limits some of the stuff that we can do when it comes to how crazy we can make some of the quests. Because if we allow you to pull out a gun and shoot anybody, then, oh man, like what happens there? Now, there are a few people that you can't kill for very specific reasons. But for the most part, like in general, you can, like I'd say 98% of the people you run into, if you want just, even if they're a peaceful civilian, you want to pull out a gun and like, you know, make your choice, then you can. And we were nervous about the decision, but we committed to it. And I think it's part of having that freedom of choice. Like you make your choices, and the world story that's building around you is going to react to that. And you know, it's hopefully something I think is kind of unique nowadays. You know, in the way that you play a game. So I'm pretty proud of that.
The other way is too easy, but we had that set as a requirement, let's say, because the old game, Jagged Alliance 2 and 1 sometimes do that in a way. They allow you to choose different things in order to give you some scripted consequences. For example, I remember one of the first things that you might experience in JA2 is like there is this person, this woman who is a director of a factory or something, and she's exploiting child labor. And you had that opportunity to dissuade her for that, to talk to her and scare her and tell her, no, that's a bad thing. We're gonna kill you. Or you could just kill her, and pretty much that was it.
Yeah.
We expanded a lot.
Yeah. And we also, to respond to your comment, I think it was Off Freedom, we did actually, especially in dialogue choices, we give a little bit, we don't want to guide players too much on everything. We give a lot of openness to what you can do, but we did add pretty early on in development, actually, we did add exactly what you're talking about, where you have some indication of is this decision or is this action going to have consequences that are severe versus this just like are you just chatting with somebody. We didn't have that at first. For actually the first couple of years, I think the first year and a half or so, we didn't have that indicator. And some of the feedback that was coming in from early focus tests was like, you could make a mistake or do something where you think you're just asking a question, but you're actually doing something that has a big impact. So we actually came to that exact same conclusion. There's a little bit of like, hey, just be aware. We're not going to tell you what the decision is, but this response does have consequences in certain areas. So definitely. I want to take a pause real quick and maybe do a third T-shirt because we're at 37 after. So everyone want another T-shirt giveaway here? We're gonna do another one. And just to remind everyone, so we have 3 more to go. So there's 3 more. This one and 2 more after it. And it's gonna be first come first serve on the questions. We have a gentleman named Holman Chat. He'll post the terms of service and the privacy policy. But we're gonna give away one of these awesome T-shirts and you'll get a chance to maybe win one. So the next question, let's go with another Jagged Alliance 2 question. Which one? Okay. We're gonna do one about the company side of things. So here you go. Ready? Drum roll. Get your keyboard warriors ready to go. The question is, what was the name of the studio that made the first Jagged Alliance game, the original studio? Oh, see, one person got the actual. So it's interesting. We debated about this, and I'm gonna give it to Grimmelneck. So technically speaking, it was Mad Lab. Mad Lab was founded by Ian Curry and other people, and he made Jagged Alliance 1 at Mad Lab. Mad Lab Software got acquired by Surtech and became Surtech Canada. But the original studio, and I double checked myself on the wiki to make sure that I got this right, because I mean, obviously, we talked to Ian a lot, but the original studio that made the game was Mad Lab Software, and then got acquired by Surtech and turned into Surtech Canada. So yes, the person who got it right, we got where is it? Make sure I have that name. So hold on, I gotta get over there to chat. Yep. Grim AHLNIK, whatever. Congratulations with your awesome knowledge of the Jagged Alliance history. Go ahead and reach out to home, and we will get your information and work on getting a T-shirt out to you. So, Omega Kill, nice. Didn't know that there was a connection between MedLab and the robot guy in the OG studio. Yeah, Mad Lab. I think Mad Lab was a Easter eggy kind of thing. That's the definitely Jagged Alliance style, right? All sorts of those kind of things. So awesome. Okay, so going on with this whole thing, another element that you mentioned as part of kind of the way the world is populated, and I just want to highlight this. I don't want to give any spoilers, but I think it's a cool thing to call out as just kind of another way we're approaching things. Is that you mentioned in the dev diary that there may be secret playable characters that may decide to join you, and that's another part of like that world building, and like how you don't really know exactly how all of these relationships with the world may pan out. That seems like a really cool. I mean, again, don't want to spoil anything, but that seems like a really cool element that maybe people don't realize as part of the way the world goes.
And the tricky part is you don't know who's who. Actually, that person you're speaking with right now could be a harbor merc, could be a villain, could be an NPC with a valid request, a valid problem that wants to be solved, or just maybe complains about it. So yeah, but also that's part of the core design of the thing. We wanted to reward the player for the choices he undertook at some point. And one of the possible rewards or outcomes of completing a quest, let's say a quest, but I'll get to that later. One of the possible rewards is to get a secret merc, which is a free merc in essential. But you could do something else, and it's still a valid choice, and it's a good thing. Should I spoil a little about Flay? No. Okay.
I will say though, I think it also I really like the way that those choices can open up those opportunities, because there's definitely like it's you're interacting with people that have consequences in your future interactions with them and the world and the locals and blah blah blah. So you may inadvertently close off a path that reaches that opportunity because you do something good, but it has a negative consequence, or and to that particular person, or does something negative but opens up a path that you may be able to get this person to be good later on, or to align with your goals later on. So there's a lot of that kind of, oh, I have to kind of pick the role that I want to play and figure out how the world's going to respond to it, and then just kind of go through it. And I think that's really neat. Now, I do want to spend a little time. I do want to get to questions here, but I want to spend a little time talking about the actual world of Grand Chien and kind of what the history of it is. And we had this really cool picture from the dev diary that I want to pull up just to kind of add some framework to this, because there is a history and kind of a placement of Grand Chien, and you get that in even some of the visuals that you show up. So can you kind of tell us a little bit about Grand Chien as a place and kind of what we built into that history? Yeah, there's a picture of the grand man and his dog, right?
The Generalissime. I
Yeah.
hope I pronounce it right. Yeah, well, it's a post-colonial country, somewhere in West Africa, let's say, and it might be so that it's neighboring Aruku from Jagged Alliance too, or they're close enough together, so that things from one place could go to the other. It's a country that's suffered a lot. It has a controversial history, and it went through communism, which is never a good thing, but leaves an aftermath of chaos that is very similar to what we in Bulgaria had lived through.
Yeah.
So we have the experience to imagine that kind of country.
Oh man, yeah, I imagine that legacy gives you quite a bit of stories to pull from. What I love about the history and the some people picked up on this about what. So for those who haven't read all the previews or watched the videos, what does Grand Chien actually mean? The word.
It's coming from the name, actually, the name of Generalissimus Chien, who was the benevolent dictator, the leader of the country at some point in the past. So you have this ridiculous statue, which is a fat man with a suit and a fat dog and a bowl of which you hope is food, but might be considered something else. And there's a sign telling you that there is a gift from the country of North Korea. And actually, we dug into that. There is one of the export goods of North Korea, of the very few things that they actually do export, is statues of dictators. So that's a valid thing, especially in African countries or third world countries at any kind.
Well, yeah, the Grand Chien can mean big dog, and the thing that we hint at is that it's unclear if the original dictator was the man or the dog, and there's kind of a
one
mystery.
Of the mercs. I think one or two of the mercs can mention that even.
Yeah,
because, you know how it is in the game, in the world. You just go on and explore things, and depending on who's in your party, you may get unique responses on interacting with an object or talking with an NPC or whatever. So you get a response like, okay, but who's the actual leader of the country? We had a lot of jokes of that kind, because the game is otherwise quite serious. You're doing a good job, and it's a serious job in a serious world which has its problems.
Yeah.
But sometimes we need to leave to decrease the tension.
Yeah.
And give you a high point between the battles and everything else.
Yeah, and I think that also reflects in like the characters you run into, because there's a lot of different personalities and elements, and like there's characters that have serious things going on, and there's some characters that are kind of goofy in their own right. I think that range is part of how we create some of those moments. Like you said with the Merc, that's like, wait a second, what's going on here? Like that's that personality and how we kind of create the backdrop. What was important to you with building those characters and those interactions?
Well, there's a few things, of course, but one of the core things is the theme, the immersion. I like thematic games in general. That's the first. Second, I like games where you can try things and see what comes out of it and enjoy the result, which might be good or bad or whatever. So you have that freedom, and we provide it to you. But also as a way of creating things, it was important to me that this world doesn't feel gamish.
Right.
I know that's there's a contradiction here because it's a game, but I love a good story. I'm a reader. I love to read books, so I wanted those characters to feel natural, to feel like they have their own problems, their own issues. You're not that special figure that is there to solve their problems. But if you talk to them, if you're active, the game may reward you or give you information. If you're not active, no problem. Go on, shoot your way all to the end. That's fine.
Yeah, and I think this actually kind of connects with a question that Spine Duke just asked, which the answer is it's very hard. But he was talking about how do you balance the humor and the serious side of Jagged Alliance, and a lot of that does come from what you were just discussing about the characters and making them feel a little more natural and organic. It's a really difficult balancing act, but if you think about real life, it's also difficult to like the way that people behave in real life is often kind of ridiculous too. Like people switch serious to humor and all sorts of in-betweens and have weird, mystic beliefs and odd ways they behave and realistic ways they behave. It's such a range of people. And sometimes when you bring that into a game, and even if you try to, exaggerate a few things to make it more entertaining, it can come off as odd or silly or goofy. But there is some silliness and goofiness too. So it's funny. I always like the phrase, someone is watching something and they call it cringe. And I'm like, dude, have you ever watched like Twitch chat some of the time? Like people are cringe all the time. Like that's actually someone being cringy is somewhat realistic. Like that's kind of the way that people can be sometimes. And there was a quote that you put in the dev diary, I think, that really epitomizes this. And I'm going to read it. It's a Mark Twain quote that's like, truth is stranger than fiction, but it is because fiction is obligated to stick to possibilities. Truth isn't. Because truth is people are weird. They do all sorts of funky stuff. People like, dude, you really, no one talks like that. And it's like, well, yeah, some people actually do. Like there's some pretty awkward people out there. So balancing that dynamic of like the personalities of the characters, and also kind of, we're definitely pulling a little bit into that 90s like blockbuster movie vibe a little bit. We're pulling some of that out. We have to kind of hold the both things as important. We want the world to be impactful and meaningful. We want to have we don't want to shy away from serious topics and drama and tension. We want those things to be there because this is, even the combat is so visceral. There is elements of that's in the world that's really important. But on the same side, we got to have the stuff. It's like I always forget the exact name of the guy, but it's like the brothers in Jagged Alliance 2, I think it was, that had the freaking like the twins or like the quintuplets, because they were all the same sprite at every single location. And at first you think it's like the same dude moving from place to place. You're like, how in the world? And then you find out like, no, wait, it's just like 5 brothers. And it's funny, but it's also, it's just the way the world kind of comes together. So we actually talked about that quite a bit in the writing with Ian. I think when Ian first joined us and started working with us, and we asked him, and he's like, it's entertaining first. I remember the exact meeting. He's like, it's entertaining first. We're gonna have seriousness. We're gonna have fun. That's part of the personality here that we're trying to get. And whether we balance that line well, I think it's gonna be up for you to judge. But we've definitely taken it it's very important to us to get both elements and have them come up all the time. Like get both sides kind of normally there. So yeah,
actually, personality is key. We we took that as a conscious decision that we wanted those mercs to stand out. All of the mercs, they must be recognizable. They're not just some soldiers that you pick and lose and whatever. You hire them, they die, and that's fine. No, the whole point of it was that they have that specific art, they have a specific voice, they have their perks that define their core playing style, and everything is part of this. Some of them are weird or goofy, some of them are real psychos. Fidel is one to name. Fidel is awesome. But there are so many of them, and they are so different because they have to be. So, sometimes they need to be exaggerated so that the player can make the difference. And of course, if you pick a team of goofy characters, you might get goofy results.
I actually love that Off Freedom just inadvertently name dropped Under Siege, which you're 100% right. Under Siege is actually I will tell you, it is not just a good reference. It's a reference we actually talked about directly a few times. Not to go that far, but we looked to even nail the tone and some of the elements. We were looking at certain movies. It's just kind of like how far do we want to go. And Under Siege is one that came up a lot. I may have had to rewatch parts of it over the last couple of years, which is a weird movie to rewatch, by the way. It's a whole thing. Even some of the trailers. Yeah, dude, it's definitely it's a line to navigate, but it's fun. Well, let's bring Pavel back out here. I know he's on the side there, and we're gonna do some Q&A, and we're gonna give away some more T-shirts, and just gonna hang out for the last 10 or 15 minutes together. I have a whole bunch of questions that was asked during the stream, so I'm gonna go over there and see if I can grab some of them. We also have some questions from the dev diary that we may ask or answer. So we got some stuff to go through here. So first off, let's give away our 4th of 5th T-shirt. So we have 2 more to go, and then we'll go into questions, and we'll give away 1 more before the end. So let's see, what question do we want to do for? You know what? Let's do a Hemimont question. We got a Hemimont question. This one may be hard for some people. Yeah, but we're gonna do one about our good friends at Hemimont Games. If you want to point to your logo up there, Vanna White. There you go. Yeah, great. So everyone,
come on.
He's a
logo.
It's a recurring joke, isn't it?
Yep. So for this next question here, get ready, and we'll see how this goes. So I'll give it a second. People to prepare their keyboards, get focused, get in the zone, get ready. All right. Question number 4 for another Jagged Alliance T-shirt. What is the name of the creative director that was on the first Jagged Alliance 3 dev stream? So Pavel's other partner in crime on the first stream that we did. Hey, look at that. Quintus Cassius. By the way, epic name. Quintus Cassius was the first one. Eagle of Freedom, you were close. Yeah, Bouillon is correct. We actually have 2 Bouillons, one with a Y and one with an I, and you actually got the right spelling of the first Bouillon. We haven't had the second Bouillon join yet. There's 2 Bouillons. Which, by the way, when I first went to Bulgaria and met these guys, and I'm meeting people with this name for the first time, or I've never met a Bouillon in my life. And then I'm like, wow, there's 2 of these guys, and Bouillon with a Y and Bouillon with an I, that's a thing. So yeah, Bouillon with a Y. Quintus Cassius, you are our next winner. Congratulations. You'll get yourself a fancy dancy Jagged Alliance 3 T-shirt. By the way, bonus points for any of you that get the T-shirt that add us on Twitch or on Twitter with your T-shirt once you get it. So that's a cool thing. Congratulations. Please reach out to Home in chat. He's sitting there in chat, and we'll get your information and get the T-shirt on the way for you. Oh, by the way, we should. Jeez. Oh no. Where in the world did that come from? I think producer Alex is having fun in the background. A new wallpaper.
Yeah. Having the stream here as well.
Oh man, we're gonna make Pavel. Yeah, hello Pavel. We're gonna make Pavel famous. All right, so let's answer some questions here. Let me go through chat. Let's see. Well, this is one that I think is appropriate to answer. It's kind of a tricky question because we've kind of shown this example, but Will there be? This is from Chaos Hammer 27. Cool name. Will there be a RPG dialogue tree like Skyrim/Fallout?
Well,
Designer.
Yes. Is
dialogue
really,
tree. Dialogue
it's
tree is a thing.
yeah.
Yes, but it's not a tree. Because imagine a tree that breaks and regrows branches all the way, all the time. Because you have so many choices and so many mercs. And sometimes we want to give you merc specific, that's rare, merc specific or perk specific choices. So, like, there are psychos, for example, that's a personality perk. And a psycho can give you an opportunity to scare someone or to gain. Something that is not usually in the conversation. Yes, there is a tree. Yes, you can get different consequences using it in different playthroughs. It all depends on your team and on your, let's say, story progress in different areas. Because sometimes you unlock content because you have done something.
Because you interacted with the world in a specific way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not. It's our own version of a dialogue system, but I think the spirit of your question, which is, do you have choices that lead to other choices, and you also have choices that inform you about what the context is and the dynamics of the world? Absolutely. Like that's we try to structure it. So I think if you're a fan of those types of systems, I mean, I won't know until you play it and tell me if I'm right or wrong, but I think you're going to be satisfied with the system that you're getting there. I'm gonna answer. We also answered this question earlier inadvertently, but I'm gonna just answer it direct on the head. Biglet _ asked, "Do you have a random generator for certain maps so that the maps can be different through every playthrough?"
No,
not for the maps, because the maps are handcrafted, more or less, and they are crafted in a way that is interesting. But we have a randomness on the satellite view, on the big map, because. The enemy squads and what happens on the map is different every playthrough, and there is some random factor. And also some of the stories, maybe is better word than quests, some of the stories have different spawn locations or wanted to get elsewhere. But randomness is not a primary issue here.
Yeah, the maps are not randomly generated. They're handcrafted, as we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, it was a very deliberate choice. There's I think some of the technology that facilitates random creation, especially with some of the new innovations in AI, may evolve to create better game experiences as we continue to experiment as an industry with those technologies. But the real challenge with random map generation is that there's a certain funneling that happens organically towards how those generations can produce unique gameplay experiences, unique quest experiences, et cetera, et cetera. So we decided that in order to get the type of world we wanted to create, we wanted a world to be alive. We wanted to have a lot of dynamicism to the combat system that we could kind of influence with different types of challenges. The crafted approach was the way that was going to drive that the most as far as levels are concerned. But like Rada was just saying, it's the game has a lot of things that are going to make each playthrough unique, and that's not just directly in the choices that you make. There are mercenary enemy camps that are sending out units. There are things that are happening that are based on randomness that keep on injecting different times when things happen or different challenges, or like you're going to have a lot of uniqueness on each playthrough. And to be honest, a lot of the choices that you make do also impact that. What mercs you have, which mercs you have when you talk to people may open up different options. So there's, I believe, my opinion is that when you play through it each time, there is a freshness there that comes from the way we've structured things. So
when players discover new things and are like, wow, I didn't know this is possible.
Yeah. Let's see. This is a question that people are probably not going to like the answer to, but we'll answer it anyways. So Jimmy Lee 4 _ Morecar asks, are there any vehicles usable like tanks and helicopters for enemies or players? Yeah, asked that a lot, actually.
Yeah, that's a common question on forums and Discord and so on. So there are not going to be any vehicles like in the previous games, like helicopters or jeeps or stuff like that. There is river transport. You can board a boat and you can explore the Ajani Valley in that way, which is a lot more efficient. And also, um, there is a system behind traversing the map. Like different sectors have their different modifiers and how fast you can travel through them. If there are roads, you can travel far faster, and have your mercs tire less easily. But if you're walking through jungles and marshes and places like that, sectors like that, it's going to take a toll on your speed and your mercs condition. But yeah.
And the river is special. The boat travel actually changes a lot because there are enemy camps along the river. Well, there's this island full of enemies, and they made this fence across the river. So you have to take the camp, the outpost, before you can progress on the river. But boat travel is a relatively cheap way to get fast to where you want to be, and there are ports. You have to capture port locations in order to be able to use them. So that changes a lot. It's pretty much like the dynamic of the old game with the SAM sites, but it's more directional and more interesting in a way.
I'm going to try to grab 2 more questions. I know we're a little bit over, but I want to grab a couple more. There's a whole bunch of them before we call it here. One that I thought was a good one, and we'll actually talk about this in detail when we do our combat dev diary and dev stream. But CG Joe asked, does it have features like cover bonuses, etc.? He mentioned XCOM as a reference, but the answer is there's a lot of different elements in the game that influence combat. I saw some people in some comments for some of the videos and the previews, assuming that the ballistic system was dice rolled. It's just like a random number between hit and not hit. That's not the case. All the bullets are physicalized. They all have physics. They all travel through space. They collide with objects. There is no dice rolling chance as far as like you shoot a gun, we determine its hit based on a number. They do travel and they have different velocities and ballistic characteristics, and that also extends to things like cover and even objects. So some objects have penetration potential, like if you have a thin wooden wall versus a rock versus concrete versus boxes. When you're standing behind things or moving around things, all of that can impact your chance to be able to have cover protect you successfully, or maybe if you have armor piercing or other types of ammo. So there's a lot of complexity in the combat system that is maybe not. I mean, we've talked about it, and we've actually answered this question a few times, but it's definitely a simulated combat system with a lot of physical elements, both from the world and the gun and the ammo. I guess all 3 things that impact how combat evolves. So we're going to do an entire dev diary and dev stream on combat. We'll talk about chance to hit for most of it, because probably everyone wants to talk about that. But there's a lot of cool things about ballistics and cover and everything that I think you'll be really
Short
cool
example I can give from yesterday that I saw on a stream. You have one of the streamers was trying to hit an enemy that he can see, but all of the body parts were obstructed besides the head. So basically, it is simulated, where the potential bullet trajectory will pass, and it is possible to have only one body part sticking out that you can focus on. So
so that's part of it. Now, how we determine like some of those things, there is some math behind it, but there's also a lot of physics and a lot of simulation. So that should be, I think, for people that are hungering for that, when they actually do get into it and have a chance to experience it, I think they're gonna enjoy, at least we hope they're gonna enjoy the depth that's there. The other question I want
for the combat.
we should start a list now. Well, we already know what the list.
Oh, we do. We have one.
I'm not even gonna attempt to pretend. There's one more that I want to answer. I think it's a neat one. Where is it? Shoot. So I want to give credit to the right person. Let me see if I can search this document and find. Dang it didn't get grabbed. If I can scroll up real quick and find it. There it is. So Wigan Jack asked, what graphics engine does the game use? The answer is the Hemimont engine. Or actually, what is it? Do you guys have a name for it?
Not sure if we have a name for it, but it's our own proprietary engine that we've used for a while now. So
we can call it the Ivana Sen engine. Yeah. IA engine. I don't know. I'm just making it up.
Yeah. There's a lot of people behind the hood there, so yeah.
Yeah. No, it's Hamamont's own engine. They've actually been evolving it and growing it over the years. It has their own toolkit, and it's a really cool set of technology. So it's not Unreal or Unity. It's their own homebrew, and I think it's done a really good job making the world pretty. And what I like, what's been really beneficial to us at least, is that we've been able to expand and enhance the engine for the specific needs of Jagged Alliance. So that ability to manipulate and evolve the toolkit for things like, as Rado was talking about, the insane complexity of our narrative and combat and quest systems. Having the ability to control that has really been a boon for us. I think actually has given us a lot of extra benefits. So. Yeah, I think it's really pretty. That's also a credit to the art team because I can tell you, they spent a lot of effort iterating and modifying and improving the visuals, the lighting, the effects. It's really come together quite well. I look at the screenshots sometimes and I can't believe that that's where we ended up. They did
and the
great
level design team as well.
The level design team, the
They're
effects,
awesome.
weather effects, like they changed all of the things. How, like one map can look in one way, in one set of conditions, in another way, in another. So hopefully you'll like it when you see it. So.
Yeah, so that's the part that's it's I wish we could bring every single person on the team up on these dev streams because like there's so many hands that were involved in bringing all this stuff to life, and when you look at it all together, we're lucky to have seen the evolution, so we get a chance to like give credit to people as they individually like do one thing. You're like, oh wow, that made things so much cooler. When you see it at the end, it's just this collage of brilliance and artistry and excellence that creates a really cool experience. So let's take the last t-shirt giveaway, and then we're gonna wrap it up here. Let me grab one last question if anything comes up short, but we're gonna hey, oh my god, Pablo even has a Shooter McGavin shirt look going on. Shooter, that's great.
But I look at the Twitch stream.
I wonder how many people get the Shooter McGavin reference still. Am I dating myself? I mean, come on, right? That's a classic. I see producer Alex in the background nodding his head. I'm not sure if Pavel and Rado get the Shooter McGavin reference.
I'm not sure, but I saw the picture. Obviously, we have the one on the wall, so it's fine.
Go to your whole ball. Yeah, it's Happy Gilmore. Classic. Shooter McGavin. All right, so question number 5. Yeah, it's a movie called Happy Gilmore. Adam Sandler. Classic. Very quotable. Old school, fun comedy movies. All right, so question number 5. Get everyone ready. One more t-shirt giveaway. If you want to be a happy Alex like that screen right there and flaunt your Jagged Alliance 3 swag. Let's do... Someone actually already answered that later. Okay, we'll do another Jagged Alliance 2 question. I've been told this one's going to be easy. I would have not known this, but we'll... I think I saw some people posting about this a little bit. We'll see. Everyone ready? Okay. What are the first names of the rebels in Jagged Alliance 2 that can join you? You gotta name 2 of them. This kind of is on point with our topic today. So, the name of 2 rebels that can join you.
Yeah, someone already.
Oh, someone already got it. Yep, someone got that one first. It's gonna be Bernie Hands TTV. Dimitri and Ira are both. Actually, yeah, Carlos is. There was a number of them. We had Miguel, Carlos, Ira, and Dimitri were all valid answers for that. But Bernie Hands TTV got it. Yeah, we're gonna do. By the way, this is not gonna be our only T-shirt giveaway, most likely, and we'll try a couple. Like, sometimes we'll do random ones where we just have people through a bot, get their name in the queue, and we'll random pull. So we're gonna give different ways of doing it. It won't be the only time to get one. But for this one, for the first one, we're gonna do some questions, and if you like the content and you like Jagged Alliance and you like the shirt, then we really encourage you to get plugged into our community. We have Discord, we have our community site, community.jaggedalliance.com. We actually need to get that on the screen here for the next stream. Community.jaggedalliance.com, so we post all of our dev diaries and dev and information, and so we announce the date and time of our next dev diary and dev stream. So if you want to get another chance to win a t-shirt and just learn about the game or meet more awesome people over at Hemont, we really hope you plug into the community and get involved. Bernie Hands, if you didn't hear, please reach out to Home 24 in chat. He will get your information, and go hopefully connect you to get your shirt. Next stream's gonna be in a few weeks. I think like 2 or 3 weeks. I don't remember the exact. I don't want to give an exact date because sometimes it can move around on a Wednesday or a Thursday based on meetings and conflicts or whatnot. But it's not gonna be too far from now. So keep an eye on our social channels, and we'll announce it usually a week beforehand. And yeah, it should be a good time. Pavel, Rado, thank you so much for joining. Hope you had fun.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
How do you think, Rado, your first time on the Jagged Alliance 3 stream? Did you like it?
Oh, of course. I have a lot of stories to tell, but then again, I've already told them. So enjoy.
Maybe we'll do a, we actually are probably going to do like a really epic release day stream where we'll start streaming like a number of hours beforehand and just chat. That's always a good day to just have people come and hang out and tell stories. So we'll keep the story. Definitely have opportunities for, yeah, I love 392 TA Daddy. Like, make more streams and tell us. They want all the stories. So everyone, thank you so much for joining. We hope you had a good time, and we will definitely be around again in the next couple of weeks to keep pushing more information. Have a great afternoon, evening, wherever you're at, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.